What's going on everybody, and welcome to another video on Python 3 basics tutorial series. In this video we're going to start with the topic of list, and as you know, in the previous video I taught you strings. Well, strings and list are very comparable. See, strings are a collection of characters and list are a collection of any element of any different data type. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to start by defining a list here. Let's name a list num. Num is equals to square brackets, and inside these square brackets I'm going to write any number, any list of numbers: 12, 34, 56, 78, 90. Now when I press enter, you can see there's no error, which means we are good so far. Now I'm going to say print, and inside the bracket I'm going to write num to print our list. So this is how Python prints our list. Okay, now as you remember, in strings we used a function to get a what do you call it, we used to get an element from its index position. So for that we can also do that in list. Let's say num at position 3. Now when I press enter, it gives me 78. So I'm going to be pasting a chart here for with which you can easily identify the positions. Okay, so in strings we also use negative numbers as index position. So here I'm going to say num, and inside these square brackets, let's say -2, -3, and it gives me 56. Well, let's get started with slice function. Let's write num, and I want from 34 to 90, so I'm going to say 1 and colon. Press enter, it gives me all the elements from index position 1. Okay, see, strings were not mutable, but lists are mutable, so we can change a particular value of particular element by using an equal to sign. So for let's write num3 is equals to, let's say, 87. Press enter, print num, and you can see 78 has now been replaced with 87. We can also write num at position 3. Let's say I want to add a string there, so I'm going to say python. Press enter. Now when I write num, 87 has now been replaced with a string. So that is also possible with list. Okay, define another string, let's say more, and inside this I'm going to be using 1 as an integer, 1.5 as a float value, and let's write a string 2. Press enter. Now as you can see, it didn't show an error, which means that there's no wrong in this statement. So when I write more, it gives me the string, it gives me the list. See, by this what I'm trying to say is list can also hold elements of different data types. It can be a float, it can be character, it can be a string, it can be anything. Now moving on, let's see, I'm going to say num, and when a period, and for other functions let's say control space. So it's going to give me a pop-up of all the functions available with this list. So first function is going to be append. So let's try this. Append, and inside the curly brackets, inside the round brackets, I'm going to pass a element. Let's say 25, 35. Press enter. Now when I print num, 35 has now been added at the end of this list. So which we can conclude that append adds the element at the end of this list. Okay, let's try other functions too. Control space, and let's use extend. See, clear function here, clear function, it's going to clear the whole list. Let's try it first. Clear. Oops. Yeah, clear. Now when I say num, it is an empty list now, so it has cleared all the elements of num. Okay, we are going to use more list now. So we can write more dot extend. We are using a function extend here, and more dot extend, and inside this I'm going to pass another string. Going to pass another list, 21, 12, 34, 56, 46. Press enter. Now when I say more, the elements of this list has now been added to the list of more. So that okay, so both the extend function and append function are adding the elements to the list, but the difference is append function is going to add only one element at a time, and extend function can add a whole list to the list, to the previous list. Okay, we're going to use let's search for other functions. Okay, let's use pop, and when I just say pop and press enter, okay, so it has given our output 46. Let's print our function, let's print our list. Okay, so now you can see the difference. It has removed 46 from the list. Okay, so pop function removes the element which is present at the last position. It can also by default it removes the element at the last position, but if I pass a index value here, let's say 2, and press enter, and I'm going to print more, so it has removed the element which is present at the second position now, which was pypython. Okay, let's try other functions too. Let's say more dot remove, and see, remove function checks for the element. I'm going to pass an element here, let's say 12, and when I press enter, let me just print more. So now it has removed 12. Remove function removes the first occurrence of that element which has been passed with the remove function. Okay, the next function what we are going to use is sort. More dot sort, and when I say print more, okay, the list was already sorted. Let's make another list here. Num is equals to okay, let me just remove these commas. Okay, and now we are going to use the function sort. Num. So okay, now the list has been sorted. It has been sorted in ascending order by default, but we can also write num dot sort, and inside this bracket let's say reverse is equals to true. Now when I press enter and let's print our list, it gives the list in the descending order. It has actually sorted the list in the descending order. Okay, the next function we are going to use is del. So del, see, we have a different syntax for this. For using this, I'm going to say num, and I'm going to pass a slice of a list. Let's say I want to remove 1 comma 1. So let's say I want to remove 234 and 231. So all the elements at 0 and first position, which means I'm going to say 0 to 2. Now when I press enter, let me print the list. Okay, so it has removed these two elements now. Okay, so far so good. We've learned how to use append function, how to use clear function, how to use extend function, pop function, remove, sort, and del function. There's a couple more functions. There's a min function which returns the minimum value of the list. So the minimum value is 1. There's a max function which returns the maximum value, and there's also a sum function which returns the sum of all the elements if those elements are a float or integer. Cool, sum is 9. Okay, that's it. Okay, see, list this is it for list. Okay, see, list is a pretty important, list is a very important topic for Python. if you're using any programming language, we need to use list. List is pretty much used for handling data. Let's say I want to store names and roll numbers for of a student, so I'm going to say name, and here I'm going to pass different names here, and let's say roll number, and inside this I'm going to say 1 2 3. So that's how we can the list makes it easier for us to collect our data and store it under a single name, which is very required in a programming language when we are working with a big project. So I hope you understand what all we can do with list, and so in the next video we're going to hopefully solve a question based on the topic list and strings. And for the rest, you know the drill. Press the like button and the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.